have to tell you, it's been pretty interesting, if not entertaining, to watch the way that Republicans have turned on one another. The infighting that's been playing out. People who traditionally have been allies now clashing with one another. In this situation, it's Nancy Mace, the Republican congresswoman. She pretends to be moderate when she's not. And Kevin McCarthy. And I'll show you a Fox News host confronting Nancy Mace with a clip of Kevin McCarthy trying to explain how Nancy Mace is being dishonest in her advocacy for the position that it was justified for her to vote for the ouster of Kevin McCarthy. Now, interesting to keep in mind with this, Nancy Mace called Matt Gaetz a fraud back when he was trying to prevent Kevin McCarthy from becoming speaker in the first place because he would vote against Kevin McCarthy, then send out a fundraising email. And Nancy Mace said Matt Gaetz is a fraud. It's all about the fundraising, all about the attention. Then Nancy Mace votes to oust Kevin McCarthy, does the exact same thing. Okay. The hypocrisy is blinding. But she's been saying that one of the reasons she voted to oust Kevin McCarthy is he didn't keep his word, which I don't put that past Kevin McCarthy. I'm sure he's been, actually I know for certain he's been dishonest, especially in his negotiations with the Biden White House. But she's saying also within the Republican Party, he hasn't kept his word on things such as this.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, conservatives were guaranteed an impeachment. Moderates were guaranteed there would be no impeachment. And so that
moderates were actually told there was going to be no impeachment.
Correct. Yes. And so
again, I don't put that past Kevin McCarthy. It seemed like that is what he was doing, was to the moderate Republicans who didn't understand what the heck is going on with this whole impeachment inquiry thing. What is there to justify this when it comes to Biden? Saying something to the effect of, we're not actually going to bring this to an impeachment vote. But then telling the extreme Republicans who, for some reason, believe that this should be what they're doing, that we will get there eventually, and trying to keep both sides happy. But with this allegation generally of he's been lying on things, telling one part of the party this, other part of the party this, not following through with promises, Kevin McCarthy says that's not accurate.
Here is Kevin McCarthy on Tuesday night after he was ousted. Watch.
Nancy Mace is a whole nother story. Okay. Let's just be honest here. I called Nancy Mace's chief of staff yesterday. I said, can you please tell me, I don't understand, where have I not kept my word? You know what her chief of staff said? You have kept your word, 100%.
What do you say to that, Congresswoman?
Well, clearly he has not kept his word. I was very public about the deals I negotiated with the former speaker and the timeline for those deals. All of that is public record. And, you know, he got fired Tuesday night for not keeping his promises. And from my perspective, to throw a member of Hill's staff under the bus like that and to try to intimidate me through my chief is not the kind of ethical or unethical behavior that I'm going to champion. And I'm going to protect the workers that we have on the Hill, and I want to look forward rather than divide our party anymore. I think we should all be looking forward at the opportunities ahead to unite together, to rally around a new speaker, and do what we promised the American people we would do.
You know, in this situation, I want to speculate as to who is telling the truth. Could it have been the case that Kevin McCarthy called the chief of staff? The chief of staff said, you've been fine, and then Nancy Mace is lying, or Kevin McCarthy didn't actually do that, he's lying. Yes, it reminds me of, let's say you are babysitting or your parent or something. You have two kids, two 5-year-old kids, and you leave the room. There's cookies. You don't want them to eat the cookies yet, okay? Then you come back in the room. You had 2 cookies, and both of them have been consumed. They're gone. And both the kids say, we didn't eat the cookies. I didn't eat the cookie. I didn't eat the cookie, okay? So Kevin and Nancy Mace both said they didn't eat the cookie. They're both being honest. In this situation, someone ate the cookie. I don't really even care at this point because I know both of you would have been perfectly willing to eat the cookie. And maybe you both ate one cookie individually, or one of you ate both. One of them could be being dishonest here. The other could be being dishonest. They could both be being dishonest. It all fits within their character. And I don't really care that much. But it's fascinating to watch play out. So let me know if it helped understand that with the cookie metaphor. That was on the fly. I'm not proud of it. But interestingly, Kevin McCarthy is so distraught by this whole ordeal. He's considering, and it seems plans to, which this is so low character, just resign altogether. If he can't be speaker, he's out. This is from Politico. Kevin McCarthy considers resigning from the House before the end of his term. What? Kevin McCarthy is considering resigning from the House before the end of his term. Two people familiar with the matter told Politico, and then goes on to explain that he'll wait until the next speaker is selected, but then probably is going to resign, which shows you he doesn't care about serving his constituents. He doesn't care about keeping the institution as functional as possible. It was all about power. Now he knows there's nowhere else I can go up, so I'm out. Also interesting, reporting wise, that we're getting after the fact, also from Politico. This is titled "The Bewilderment and Schadenfreude the White House Feels Over McCarthy's Ouster." And one of the parts of this article I found so interesting was people close to the President Joe Biden, consider McCarthy a fickle and unpredictable partner. When McCarthy met with Biden in person, he typically presented himself as a sober negotiator, clear-eyed about the give and take of bipartisan governance. Then he would go out in public and brag about his refusal to bend on conservative demands. On a particularly sensitive matter, this is wild. Not surprising, but shocking. McCarthy mocked Biden's age and mental acuity in public while privately telling aides that he found the president sharp and substantive in their conversations, a contradiction that left a deep impression on the White House. Absolutely. This is what I've been telling you. Behind the scenes, all the reporting you can find is that everyone who interacts with Biden is impressed with how aware he is of the day-to-day operations of his administration, the details of different policies being implemented by his administration, makes a lot of the specific day-to-day decisions that are important and more in detail than a lot of people in that role have done, including for sure Donald Trump, who didn't know what the heck was going on in his administration day-to-day. And even Kevin McCarthy took note of that and would tell aides that, and then would go out and say, Biden doesn't know where he is, blah, 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 blah. Which I've said it before. No question, Biden has become a less effective communicator in recent years. But you have to be able to judge both, yes, communication ability, and ideally you would have a really effective communicator as president. But you can't just only focus on that and ignore that clearly behind the scenes, very intelligent. And if you watch long form interviews, knows what he's talking about, even if he can't deliver it as succinctly as you would want, and also has a really impressive legislative record. So those things should be notable to people as well. But it seems all the conversations about the year on his birth certificate and his speeches and stuff, and complete lack of discussion on what is so important as well, his actual record as president and some of these behind the scenes bits of information. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show and get a bonus show on the weekends, you can do so by going to lukebeasleyshow.com/membership. That's lukebeasleyshow.com/membership, and there's a link in the description.